Hey David, welcome to the stream. Good morning as well. Welcome, Philip. Welcome, Lord Henry. Thanks for being here. Well, that can be both a good and a bad thing. Yeah, you did miss out on a lot of the reworked epilogue stuff, though. They've done a lot of changes to the epilogue. But you also went through a much easier version of the game on a lot of different encounters. So, pros and cons, pros and cons. And that just means that you get to start your next playthrough. Yeah, I still haven't finished it either, Philip, in any of my playthroughs. I will say I kind of put my personal playthrough on hold a little bit while I focused on the honor mode playthrough, but I'm getting there. I'm not looking forward to some of these changes that they've made. I wish I'd have focused more on the honor mode playthrough and gotten farther through it, but at least I missed a bunch of the Act 1 and Act 2 stuff. I can only imagine what legendary actions the Shambling Mound would have now in honor mode. Yeah, learning that was a really big one. People had been harping about that in the forums forever. I'm actually a little surprised they didn't release a hot fix for it, because it was such a big deal. But they did get around to it, and like I say, with everything else in this is just a massive patch. A massive patch. I could, like I told Em in the comments, I could spend an hour just talking about all of the changes in this thing. Yeah, David, I love that encounter. I mean, I love the Shambling Mound as a monster. I have ever since I was a kid and encountered my first one. But yeah, I shudder to think about what legendary actions it has. Yeah, that's another thing, Lord Henry. I finally got my wish. They decided to have pity on me, and all of you great people in the chat that have to remind me every time. I think it was probably more one of your guys' requests from the chat, so you don't have to keep reminding me every time. But yes, they did take pity on me. And I mean, to be truthful, honestly, it's something that most DMs in tabletop kind of do anyway. They don't make you physically say, I'm going to rebind my packed weapon after a long rest. You know, it's just one of those, you take care of all of your normal things that you do after long rest, and that would include things, you know, like casting ritual spells that don't take a spell slot, and casting any long rest buffs and that sort of stuff. It would all just be part of a normal tabletop experience, so you wouldn't have to waste time going through it, so I'm glad they did it. But yeah, certainly the rules say you have to bind it every time, so. Yeah, and that's why, David, there's so many great content creators out there that have made, you know, so much valuable content for everybody to look through, because the Baldur's Gate 3 is one of those, and every game to varying extents has a background or something like that that it's based off of. But for the most part, games don't delve that far into it. They're really interested in getting you into the action, getting you enjoying the game, and then finding out the few little tips and tricks and quirks and that sort of stuff as you go. The Baldur's Gate 3 games have never been that way, ever since the very first one. It's always been very, very steeped in the background rule sets, whether that be AD&D or whether it be 3 or whether 5e. The rule sets have always been a big governing part of it, and if you don't know how a lot of that works, then you can miss out on a lot of stuff that they can't put in a tutorial, because the entire game would just be a tutorial. So that's why I really appreciate the content creators out there that are helping explain a lot of that stuff to players, to help them get the most they can out of their playthroughs. Welcome everyone to today's live stream, episode 31 of our Baldur's Gate 3 Bard gameplay series. I'm Commander Jarval, and I want to thank you for coming along on our journey today. So, admin notes, there's really one. There's two, but there's really one. Obviously, the big news this week is the release of patch 6 from Larian. And boy, like I said in one of the comments on my community posts, I could spend the next hour just talking about all of the impactful changes that have been made in patch 6. I would encourage you to go read through them. It's a long read, but there are so many things in there that have been adjusted, not just in the gameplay, but also in specific situations in all 3 acts. Stoppages, breaks in the gameplay, bugs, all that sort of stuff in the various encounters through all 3 acts have been fixed. There are actually 2 full sections that list all 3 acts in each section where they talk about changes being made. It's a huge patch. That is referenced by the fact that, unfortunately, it needs 150 gigabytes of free space to be able to install it. So if you're a little short, then you may need to do an uninstall and a reinstall of the game to get upgraded to patch 6. If you're playing it through Steam or something like that, your saves are going to be kept. So it's not a big deal to do that, but it does take a lot of space to do the install. After it's installed, it doesn't take but an extra 2 gigabytes of space, I think, over what the previous one did. So you don't need that space permanently, but you do need to have it on the install drive to do it. So some of the main changes. First, the biggest one that had been complained about for weeks now is Repelling Blast. That is now able to be toggled on and off again. As I mentioned in the chatting, I'm a little surprised Larian didn't release a hot fix for that. But they got it out here and it now works. So that's one of the big things. There are a bunch of cosmetic things. The big thing that Larian chose to focus on was the kissing animations. If that makes a big difference to you, then those have been adjusted. They've done a lot of animation work to correct all of that because they realized how sloppily it was done, I will say, at the start, based upon different character heights and sizes and that sort of stuff. They've done a lot of work to get it fixed, and that's continuing. So kudos to the animation department over there to get all that stuff kind of worked out. But as far as the interface goes, the camp followers, dismissal, and reintegrating into the party function has been made quite a bit easier now. You don't have to go to everybody and dismiss them and then go to a new person and bring them in. You can just talk to whoever you want to bring in, and then they will give you an option to dismiss whoever you want from the party all at once. So you don't have to go to talk to 2 different people. You can just do it all at once. The trade interface has been revamped, and we'll see that a little bit, so that you no longer have to switch between your characters to view the entire inventory. And that's just because it doesn't matter anymore. It mattered previously when the character you would select, their charisma was the one that mattered, but now it doesn't. It's the person who initiates the conversation. So having to change to different characters to view their inventories didn't really matter anymore. So that's all changed. As far as the gameplay, some of the big things that impact me specifically is, first, all alcohol rests. If you choose to use your alcohol camp supplies to rest, you're now going to get 10 turns of an inebriated or a drunk condition. It's the same drunk condition you get when you drink alcohol when you're not resting. But you could previously use alcohol, and there was an achievement for getting or using all alcohol to take a long rest. Well, now it's going to, for 10 turns, give you a condition afterwards. So you'll need to make sure that you're not in the middle of something or not trying to get into combat or talk to anybody, unless you're also trying to get an achievement for killing people while you're drunk. But that's been changed, so I need to kind of watch out for that when I'm doing my long rest, because all the alcohol's up at the top of that list. The packed weapon has gotten a couple of changes, and I'm not entirely sure if this was a request from me or a request from all of you telling Larian that you want to not have to tell me anymore, but the packed weapon does not need to be rebound after a long rest now. So you don't have to remind me anymore. It's going to stay bound until I want to change it to a new weapon. The other thing is a bit more controversial in that the packed weapon can no longer be disarmed. Now, me and a couple other content creators have done a lot of searching around through 5e rules about this, whether or not a packed weapon can be disarmed. And I'm going to have to do some more looking, because I don't have the player's handbook here, a copy of it myself, to look through it, but I have access to what I think is the tooltip for it, and it doesn't mention anything about not being able to be disarmed. So I'm anxious to see kind of how that works out, how that compares to what the actual interpretation of 5e is. 5e, you'll get DMs that tell you it can't be disarmed. And that's because of their interpretation of how the whole, if it leaves your hand for longer than a minute, type of thing, how that would work. And I'm, like I say, from a tabletop purist, I'm a little bit skeptical about that one, but it does mean that for everybody who has a packed weapon, which is half of my characters in my parties, they can't be disarmed, which is always good. One of the other big changes is new legendary actions. I had talked about this last week when we were all waiting to see what that meant and how much that was going to increase the difficulty. And it's increasing the difficulty. Not only have they added new legendary actions to one of the encounters, to one of the existing ones that already had them, they've added new legendary actions to 3 or 4 new encounters. And now it's starting to get, like I say, that honor mode playthrough is starting to get quite a bit more difficult. They added it to Dror Ragzlin, to Karnus the Drider, and to the Shambling Mount. So 1 in Act 1 and 2 in Act 2. And I haven't gone back to look at them because I am past those points in my honor mode playthrough. And I'm glad I did it, because the Shambling Mound encounter on honor mode was hard enough as it is. I can only imagine what legendary actions they've given to the Shambling Mound in Act 2. So I'm going to go back and check them out this week and kind of see how they replay. But there have been a lot of changes here. Like I say, I could spend the next hour talking about them, so I don't want to do that. I want to get into the gameplay, but definitely go upgrade your game. There is so much that has changed and so much that has been fixed that you do not want to skip this. You definitely want to have this one installed, just to continue moving forward through the game in the best way possible. So go ahead and make sure you've got it downloaded and installed. And trust me, you're going to enjoy it. So for the second admin note, as I mentioned in the community post, we are now back to our regular streaming times. Well, slightly modified streaming times, because normally this stream would be starting at noon on Saturdays. That would give me time to prep for this stream in the morning, but I'd gotten kind of used to doing it a couple hours earlier, and that makes it a little easier, 2 hours easier for my overseas viewers. So I'm going to keep the Bard live stream here at 10 a.m. Central Time, GMT -6. But then the Paladin livestream is moved back to its regular time, which is not Saturday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. It's Sunday from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. That allows me to get a good portion of my Saturday back. So I can do errands, do things around the house, spend time with friends, and then carry through my Sunday mornings and just have a portion of my Sunday afternoons taken. So, and then can get back to things Sunday evening after it's done. So this is a much better schedule for me. This is the regular streaming schedule, just slightly modified with this stream being a couple hours earlier, which I don't think is a bad thing. So from now on, we're going to be on this schedule. So I've updated on the About tab, and I put a post in the Community tab about it. So make sure you're aware of it. And we'll continue going this way until we get around to NFL football season next year. So we've got a while here until we get to that point. So should be good. So I think that finishes the admin notes on our recap. So at the end of last week's episode, we had kind of started exploring. We had done a lot in Moonrise Towers with the Bard, and we started exploring out into Reithwin Town, which we hadn't really done any of prior to that point, and we got ourselves into the town square, and we had our entrance into the Sharran Sanctuary, and that's where we're going to kick off again today. And then we're going to start exploring the rest of the town, and we're going to utilize our Bard abilities today. And I made a little change from the description that I put up for the video. We're going to try and talk our way out of everything today. So we're going to go visit all of the quote-unquote boss fights here in Reithwin Town with all the Thorm family members, and we're going to try and talk our way out of it. The Bard is perfectly suited to do that. So we're going to try and see if we can make that happen. So first, if you remember last time, we had passed our checks at all of the statues, and we've gotten the Dark Lady's buffs here. 2 for my Bard, 1 for Shadowheart. So we're getting +5 bonuses to various spell casting stats here. And in the case of my Bard, that +5 to Charisma is going to add damage as well. And one thing I need to do here, because everything has been reset, and okay, so it says Packed Weapon Permanent on it. It used to have the purple icon here. It doesn't have that anymore. It just says Packed Weapon Permanent. So probably says that here as well. Yep, so you don't have to rebind it. It just got rid of the purple icon that used to be in the corner, letting you know it was there. So,
not as bad as it
but in the case of my Bard, that's going to get me damage boosts for my Charisma modifier for everything that I do, which is obviously very nice. So we also have one more encounter here, and we're going to work up with this with Shadowheart. And you can see here on the altar, there's a Ritual Dagger of Shar. We're going to have Shadowheart interact with the altar.
An altar to Shar. It appears to seek prey and a blood offering. Your blood.
Okay, and doing this brings up some potions and some scrolls here that you can pick up. So Scroll of Revivify is always good.
Where am I needed?
Scroll of Blight. Then we have a couple of potions over here. Angelic Reprieve. And Necrotic Resistance. And that leaves us with the Ritual Dagger of Shar. Now, you can choose to leave it there. If you take it with anybody else, there's going to be some trepidation to taking it. But if you take it with Shadowheart, she can just pick it up. And you can just pick it up, or you can interact with the altar. But before I do that...
Defender of the people. Silence is gold. Light on my feet. Breathe quiet. Move
Never wanted the easy path.
Okay. Going to kind of pre-position a couple of people, and then I'm going to go with Shar over here. And I'm going to take the dagger. And with her taking it, you won't get any disapprovals or anything like that. Okay, but you are going to get an encounter. And the different sentinels, again, based upon your spellcasting modifiers, the same sentinels that we got the buffs from, have now appeared out here. And they all do different things, varying things. So they're all vulnerable to radiant damage, which is good for us. They all have Shar's sight, which means they cannot be blinded. However, that does not necessarily negate the benefits of darkness, in that you're not able to cast attack roll targeted spells through darkness. So that doesn't necessarily negate the benefits of it. They are living shadows, so when they're in darkness, they're going to have resistance to all damage except force, psychic, or radiant. But since they're vulnerable to radiant, it, again, doesn't really matter. If they're in that darkness, they're going to take half damage from the normal melee damage most locations in here anyway. So putting them, either lighting it up with daylight to get rid of that, or putting them in shadow isn't going to change that. They're still going to be vulnerable to radiant damage while they're in that shadow. So, and then force and psychic damage, I have those abilities on some of my characters as well, so certainly going to help. They do have a sunlight sensitivity, so while they're in sunlight, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls. And then the different ones have the paragons, which are, they have advantage on all saving throws and spell attack rolls that have to do with their particular modifier that they're around. And they're all different types. So your Wisdom Sentinel is a cleric, your Intelligence Sentinel is a wizard, and your Charisma Sentinel is a paladin. And that makes the Charismatic Sentinel the one that you want to focus on the most. If you can get rid of the Charismatic Sentinel at the start, you're going to save yourself a lot of damage potential. Because, again, Divine Smite is Divine Smite, and it really hurts. So we're going to focus on the Charismatic Sentinel. We are going to drop Darkness, just to keep the Intelligent Sentinel from dropping Scorching Ray, Magic Missile, things like that on us. Even though it's not going to handicap them much, it's going to keep the ranged aspects of this from getting to us. It's also going to stop Guiding Bolt from the Wise Sentinel from hitting us as well. So let's go ahead and start this off. And
I won't give in.
I'm thinking about how I want to do this. I think I want to use my Bard action here to Shriek, just so I can get the additional damage bonus for the rest of my attacks against the Charismatic Sentinel. But that would be sacrificing quite a bit. Oh, I can't do it anyway because I haven't taken a short rest. So, guess that fixes that. So, on my passives, I'm going to turn Repelling Blast off. I don't want him moved. And yeah, let's do it. Okay.
Can't afford to let up.
So now for Shadowheart, we're just going to stand back here and call lightning. Well, they're vulnerable to radiant damage, so let's not. Let's get our Spirit Guardians out.
Got to move.
Okay. Now we're going to make sure that we get our Bard out here to soak up any
These boots have seen everything.
of those damages. While we're here, we may as well use Pommel Strike. Okay.
What now?
And now from here, we're going to start our
Mouth shut.
the regular progression. So we're going to drop Darkness out here. And again, this is really to keep some of the spells from being able to reach me.
Worth a try.
Okay. We will move into the darkness here as well. Okay, and okay.
Let's not get caught up.
Now our paladin should be able to move through the darkness. Well, move into the darkness. They're going to go into combat here to point, so let's move up here. And let's see if we can drop the Charismatic Sentinel. And I didn't take my short rest, so there's possibility I'm going to get stunned here out of it, but we'll drop it and see what happens. Okay, so it did stun me, which is a shame, because that kept me from dropping Divine Smite as my reaction.
What should I do?
No holding back.
Oh, that was dumb. That was a misplay. Because see, that would have stopped it. Now I'm going to counterspell it. Did I just misplay that again? Okay, I need to stop. I need to focus here. Inflict wounds I'm not as worried about. Okay, now this is going to hurt. Okay, so I'm going to get a Sentinel response here, which is why I moved him up. And now I can add Divine Smite to that. Okay, and I don't need to overpower that, simply because they're vulnerable to radiant damage. So with Shadowheart, we're going to move her out of here. Where are we on the Y Sentinel? Actually, let's hold her turn.
On the victor's path.
Nothing will stand in my way.
Let's turn Repelling Blast back on. Okay, that's what I wanted. Now with Shadowheart, I can move up here again.
On my way.
Okay, and let's... So I've got 4 Reverberation on either one of them. That's going to trigger Reverberation again, and that's going to get the thunder damage.
Battle favors the fearless.
We'll move Will out of the acid. Since he's already using it, we'll reapply Hex. Okay, so we got the frightened aspect, which is good. Because he normally tries to cast point damage attack roll spells, and now he's got disadvantage on that attack roll.
I can't even catch my breath. Swift as my feet can carry me.
Never a dull moment. You've made a grave mistake.
And again, I can just drop a small Divine Smite. Don't need a large one here.
Have to keep going.
Okay. Okay, and now you can see the power of reverberation taking effect. So at the start of the turn, it took radiant damage from Spirit Guardians. That procced reverberation stacks. Those reverberation stacks knocked it prone, and it lost its turn. So again, when you're surrounded by a bunch of enemies and you're in Spirit Guardians, proccing reverberation can have some massive benefits, because now while it's prone, one, it lost its turn, but two, any attacks against that creature are now going to have advantage as long as they are melee attacks, which all of these are going to be.
Let's go.
And this should kill it. Okay, so I started off with a couple of bad misplays there. I just wasn't paying attention. I think I clicked through a couple of those too fast, and then I was sitting there with Will going, I'm wondering why I don't use Hex as much with him anymore. So I cast it, and then the reason I don't use Hex with Will very much is because I'm always using him to concentrate on darkness. So, like I said, that was just a straight up misplay from me.
That's progress.
So you're out of the Sentinels here. You're going to get some crafting ingredients,
No traps, please.
and that's really it. The benefit is really just from the XP that you get from killing them, and that's, again, really it. So we're going to just drink up a couple of these smaller ones. Perfect.
Have a lot on my mind. And, well...
And now we're done in here. We did pick up the Ritual Dagger of Shar. It's nothing horribly special. It does do 1d4 necrotic damage in addition to the regular piercing damage, so it does double the damage of the dagger if you are into using daggers for various things. It's really just something that I use to trigger the encounter with the Sentinels here, and then also to, you know, one more little thing of role-playing for Shadowheart to have it. So now that we're done down here, we're going to head back up. And we are going to take a short rest.
I'll feel that one later.
And now you can see back where we are here at the town square. So let's go over and have a conversation at the Tollhouse over here. And for that, okay, and again, this doesn't matter, but I will put my wondrous gloves back on. Okay. For this encounter, it's persuasion based. So we don't need any sleight of hand or anything like that for it. And here we are at the Tollhouse. Now for the Tollhouse, how I'm going to do this time is, like I say, a little bit different. I'm going to, again, separate the group. Whoops. I'm going to put everybody in hiding. I can't because of this visage looking at me down here. So I'll move everybody over here. Put everybody in hiding here. That's fine. I'll break the group now. I'll come out of hiding with my bard. And we're going to wait for her to get up here into this area above me. And then we're going to go up the roots. Okay, so here she is moving back.
Another step forward.
What do you bring?
And again, we're going to try and talk our way out of all of this. But just in case I don't talk my way out of it, that's why I pre-positioned her in this spot.
I require good.
So I'm going to toss the creature a gold piece here.
Again. All that you have. You may pass the river, but first you must pay.
Okay, and once you get here, you can continue tossing gold pieces to her. You can give her all your gold, however, that's only going to matter if you have more than 6,000 gold. If you have 6,000 gold, you can give it all to her, and she will give you an item in return. That is interesting, but is not something that I'm going to do here. And then you can always attack her afterward and get your gold back. I'm going to start going with the persuasion options here. So, because I'm a warlock, I do have advantage here on this persuasion check. Or my regular persuasion check is just as good. No reason not to take the advantage, though. I have a total bonus of 14 out of this. Let's not add in guidance. And now you can see the +7 bonus from charisma because that +5 I'm getting to my charisma score.
The gold is not for me. The gold is for the toll. I collect the toll. I collect the gold.
Okay, so now you have another persuasion check here. And again, these I can change to deception here, but I'm going to go with the persuasion option. And this is going to be getting a little harder now to do it. It's a 21 DC. We have a bonus of 11, so right now we're 50-50. I can gain advantage myself here. Didn't need it anyway.
Gold. 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 No. I pay it back.
Okay, and that will end that.
This calls for careful footwork.
So again, you get the XP for killing all of the visages. You can loot her as normal. So you get the Tollhouse Master Office key. You get something called the Unsigned Trade Visa. If you give her all of your gold, you get a signed trade visa item. And it's been a long time since I looked at it, but I believe the item gives you the ability to turn a creature to gold for 3 turns. Basically, you know, like a hold monster, basically, for 3 turns. A single-use type of item. So, something interesting, and again, I haven't looked at it in literally months. So, people in chat can correct me if that's wrong. But the unsigned trade visa doesn't get you anything except being able to sell it. You do get a little bit of gold here, and then you also get the Twist of Fortune. We've talked about this before, in that the special deal about Twist of Fortune is the blood money. So for every, well, technically it's 300 gold, but it works out to be damage-wise for every 100 gold. For every 100 gold that the target possesses, you're going to deal an additional slashing damage. So it's based upon 300 gold increments, though. So there are some funny YouTube videos out there of people reverse pickpocketing several thousand gold worth of, or several thousand gold in different parts, you know, smaller increments, so that you're able to reverse pickpocket it, dropping it onto an enemy, you know, a huge boss type enemy, and then just one-shotting them with the Twist of Fortune. The thing about it is that the gold gets consumed afterward, so you lose all of that gold that you're doing. It is kind of interesting, though, if you're not really interested in picking up gold from enemies. You can use this if they're carrying gold. You'll just gain bonus damage out of it whenever, once per short rest, you use the blood money weapon action that comes along with it. Something interesting, not something that I'm going to be utilizing here. And then we have all the regular stuff that's up here. Now, talking your way out of this grants you the achievement of killing the Toll Keeper before she has a chance to use the gold against you. So I've already got that achievement, so it didn't proc for me here again. But talking your way out of it with a high charisma character, especially if you have that buff already, is an easy way to get that achievement. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Now I can go around here and I can collect this gold. Another way to get that achievement is all of these little gold piles that are laying around. You can sneak your way around, whether you're using invisibility or various other means to do it. You can sneak around and pick all of those gold piles up beforehand. And in that case, she won't be able to use the gold against you because there's no gold laying around for her to use. So there's a couple of different ways to do it. You can, like I mentioned in the Paladin playthrough, just find a way to incapacitate her for a turn. Killing the visages is pretty easy. It's pretty hard to do it in a single turn, just because there are 5 or 6 of them, and dealing out enough damage for all 6 is a little hard. But being able to kill them in 2 turns and then still have action economy left over to kill the Tollmaster, or the Toll Keeper after you're done is pretty easy. So as long as you can incapacitate her for one turn, she can't use the gold against you. And you can incapacitate her with a stun. You could incapacitate her with stacking reverberation and knocking her prone. You could do hold monster. You could do I don't think hold person works on her because I believe she's undead. Yes. So there are a few different ways you can incapacitate her. Specifically with the Githyanki Greatsword, which I don't have with me here. But the Githyanki Greatsword that you picked up from the Inquisitor has a possibility to stun the target when you use the Soulbind weapon action with it.
Looking ahead.
So a few different ways to trigger that. So now I'm going to put my thieving stuff back on.
Can't keep me out.
Okay, and then here inside of, and I didn't need to pick that. I had her key, so I didn't need to pick that. I just, again, was talking and not thinking about it. I need to stop doing that. I've made that mistake a couple of times already on stream here. I need to pay more attention to what I'm doing. I'm going to break my group here as well while I still have guidance. Make sure I pass the perception check. Okay, so I need to be searching this with somebody else. But you can read the book here, and you learn more about this particular room. And now we're going to do this a slightly different way in that, well, let's do this search here real quick first. Okay. We are going to drop an Eldritch Blast on the statue. And that will then fall and break the hole in the floor here.
Light on my feet.
So instead of you attacking it, you can attack the statue instead. We get the Iron Vine Shield. We've talked about this before. So whenever you're, as a druid, you're holding a weapon that you've used the Shillelagh cantrip on, which gives any weapon, or makes any weapon magical and makes it bludgeoning damage. And attack rolls with it use the spellcast and ability modifier, so somewhat similar to what a packed weapon does. Whenever you have this shield in your offhand, you're going to deal an additional 1 piercing damage to that target. So again, useful, just not something for me.
Where am I needed?
Okay, that was dumb. But for him, it's a ritual spell, so.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, just took a little maneuvering, I guess, to get it around. And for here... Really? So I don't have that on me anymore. Okay. Interesting. I don't know why I would have taken that off. I was looking for the guidance pendant. I don't have it anymore. Because there is a perception check over here. And I don't know if I'll be able to make it. I did not make it. It's a high DC, but rolling a 3 doesn't help. Okay, so we'll just finish looting down here. That's probably true, Lord Henry. I probably left it on him, and when I removed him from the party, I didn't think to take it off of him. Wow, even that encumbered me. Let's get rid of something else here so I can... Okay, because yeah, I can't, again, get out of here that way.
Time to press ahead.
We'll just make our way back here real quick. Because there were a couple of those that we may want to transport out of. Okay, so that finishes off that room there. So I believe we still have our thief stuff on. We do. Oh, we don't need this. This is a strength check. And I shouldn't have clicked on it, because I can't get out of it. So I do have quite a few elixirs of hill giant strength here. And I do have... I'm full up on inspirations, I believe. I am. There we go. Okay, and then here's 514 gold to pick up. Won't loot everything here. We found the plaque over here.
Seized inventory.
And to gain access to this room, you have to do it from the roof. So we'll go do that here in a minute. Wow. Okay, click. All right. So we'll have Shadowheart pick up this painting.
Can't give up now.
And none of the visages have anything on them, so you don't have to worry about looting them. Paul's clerk's key is going to come in handy on the other side of the room.
On my way.
Okay, and all these routes take you up to the roof, which we are definitely going to go do here in a minute. And then we have another safe over here. There's also a perception check here.
Whatever comes, I'm ready. This way.
Okay, and once you read
Let's get going.
this, it will allow you... It gives you the combination to the safe in front of you. Lets you know that there's somebody hiding inside, so now all you have to do is click on it, and you can open it up.
Worked.
Otherwise, you would have to lockpick it. Wow. My clicking is a little bit off today, chat. I apologize.
The skeletal remains of the hopeful survivor still waiting to be rescued. Their desperate refuge now their everlasting tomb.
So, things didn't work out that great for him.
Slow down. Always room for more?
No time to dally. Onward then.
Okay, so I can't pick this up. I'll see if it's below me.
Alright. What now? Need to find a way forward.
Okay, so this room here has some more stuff that we can search in. Okay, another regular key. And some gold here on the ground. Now we have some locked doors here. If you click on them, the Tollhouse clerk's key is going to unlock this side. Whoops. Didn't need to take that.
Bet I can crack that open.
Our first 20 of the day. When we really didn't need it, as always. And this is the Gloves of Battle Mage's power. These, I've actually seen these used quite a bit here in a couple of different builds. It really goes very well with your Eldritch Knight builds and that sort of stuff. Meaning that whenever you gain or you hit with a weapon that's going to inflict a condition afterward, you're going to gain arcane acuity, and that's going to help your spell attack rolls and your spell DCs hit easier. And this, like I say, I've seen this in a couple of, as an integral part of a couple of different builds that I was just happened across in the past week. It won't do much for us here while we're going through it, because the gloves that we have on our other characters are
Shouldn't have wished to live in
are
more
very
interesting
useful,
times.
especially the wondrous gloves here, the gloves of belligerent skies on Shadowheart. So I might be able to use it in some other specific locations for stuff that I would want to do, but there's not really a whole lot of usage for them in the builds that I'm playing. But they can, like I say, be an integral part of a couple of different builds that I've seen here. So I'm just going to send them off to camp.
Let's move.
And I don't need that vase I'm carrying anymore.
Let's see.
Okay, and that finishes this floor, so now we can find any set of routes that takes me upstairs. And there's one right here, or that takes me to the roof. And the roof is actually a very interesting way to go about the encounter down there below. Getting your characters up here on the roof can allow you different attack advantages and things like that to be able to make ranged attacks a lot easier and avoid being attacked. I just find it's still quite a bit easier if you're going to take the attack route for this encounter, just to immobilize her for one turn and then focus on the visages and get them down and out of the way. So the rumors of Reithwin really talking about the fact that there's possibly a bunch of riches down in here in the Tollhouse that they're trying to find. Club +1 and a dagger. We picked up a basement key. None of this stuff I'm going to need. And I think that's all of the searchable stuff up here. Yeah, there's no other bodies or anything. I need to make my way over to this side. I have Shadowheart cast guidance. Whoops.
I've got a long road ahead. Very well.
Okay, then we found the collapsed floorboards. Okay, so a rendering bug there, looks like. I can cast Featherfall on myself as a ritual action. And the rendering bugs here are getting a little annoying. I can jump my way down into
Is that
this
blood?
room.
No, never mind.
Camera's going to get a little wonky down here.
Wonder what's past this.
While I still have guidance. Actually, I don't have guidance on me right now, but I think I'll be alright. And I'm not, okay. Well, the thing about lockpicking is all you need is lockpicks. And I jinxed myself. As soon as I said it, I knew it. Okay, and this gives you Fireheart. So this is another heat-based item. We've talked about heat multiple times before. Not a build that I'm working for here, but whenever you take fire damage from any other outside source, you're gonna gain heat. And like I say, you can use that heat to deal fire damage back to enemies in return. And now here, I can Featherfall. And I can jump out of this window. Okay, now I'm going to have everybody else join me down here on this bottom level. Oh, and I guess I don't have to worry about being encumbered anymore.
What's inside?
Not with the elixir of Hill Giant Strength.
Forget it. It's blocked from behind.
Oh, yeah. That's the room that we already encountered from above. And they're not following down here, so The one time the pathing doesn't want to keep everybody together. It's not a big deal. We'll just continue searching down here and then we'll head upstairs. Or we won't. There they go. Now they're joining me. Well, one of them joined me. Okay, here we go. Now we're all together. Really weird pathing to be able to search some of these crates. Yeah, and I've said it 1,000 times, the pathing in this game leaves something to be desired.
Seems simple enough.
Okay, the way out here into this courtyard, we're going to come back to this here in a minute.
Cheese from the Dale lands. Or what's left of it.
There's an inspector's memo here that talks about the fact that a couple of chalices have walked off, 1 silver and 1 gold.
Silks from Comir, it says. Empty them all the way from Thay. Jewels and gems, probably. One's still in there.
Okay, and the rest of this, I don't think there's a whole lot in here. Okay, so I believe there's another Shadow Heart sack over, yeah, Shadow Root sack over here to pick up. Okay, and then we have the basement area to go deal with. And the basement is accessible from this backside, I think. No, it's from the front side. Yes, it's here. So we're gonna head back up here. And out through this door. That will lead us down and around the outside here. Where we've seen this bridge to get across here. This is where we had our encounter with Roland and the Shadows out here.
Dark justiciars who fell long ago in service of Shah and Ketheric Thorm.
Okay, we can do... well, we'll do the basement first. Now, we picked up the key for this.
There's no time to waste.
These things have stayed interesting.
Okay, and we did perceive the button there. We'll do some quick searching of stuff down here. And if you're on honor mode,
Swift as my feet can
loot
carry me.
everything that you see. Doesn't matter how cheap it is or how expensive it is, loot everything. Because everything is so much more expensive in honor mode. It is not even funny how
Anything of use?
how much they have tipped that scale to basically say we're not going to allow you to have all of these really great items. We're just not going to allow you to do it because of the gold requirements to buy some of those things. They are, like I say, they are really weighted against you.
I'll give it a shot.
Okay, the button's going to open up this back area of the basement. And in here, we're going to find Gerringothe's little office here. So just a ledger of all the stuff that she's been taking in. Bunch of chests, some crafting supplies. There's the gold chalice. There's the silver chalice that were being talked about. So she was the one that was taking these things and just being upset with everybody else about them. Okay, and there's a soul coin. We can send those. Oh, that's interesting. So even though it's a single item, but it's multiple of it, you can't do it. Oh, you can't do it anymore at all. Your other character names don't show up in the list, even the ones that are in camp. Interesting. Okay.
Bet that'll fit in my pack.
And all the paintings down here. Worth a good chunk of gold. And then you have the routes that take you down into the basement. Into the basement. Okay, some more crafting supplies. And we have some interesting stuff down here to take a look at. So there's a Mason's journal. And remember, we kind of talked, or we've kind of learned a little bit about the Masons in other playthroughs. But here it talks about them trying to dig a secret tunnel from the Tollhouse basement to the exterior. And the fact that they were supposed to be paid by Gerringothe to do that, but Gerringothe has not paid them at all for it. And he ended up dying down here. Okay, so some potions here and elixirs. And you get back here into this corner, and there are several skeletons you can take a look at. Okay, nothing else, and that's it down here in this basement area, I believe, so we can climb back up. And we will go head over to our next encounter. So let's do a little bit of opening up of the map first and go take a look at just this little area down here. We're not going to go exploring the docks and that sort of stuff just yet. We're just going to open up this section of the map.
My faith protects me.
Never a dull moment.
So some Serpent Fang Toxin and just a psalm that you can pick up. There's a heavy chest back here around the back. Don't forget to take it.
What's hiding here? Be on my way.
And again, as we've seen previously, this takes us back to the Moonrise Towers dock area where we've had the encounters with the guards and everything here. We're going to deal with this a little bit later.
No one stopped me yet.
So for now, we're going to head back up and we're going to head over toward the waning moon. So for that, we're just going to head to the Moonrise Towers waypoint. And now we're going to head north and west a little bit. Now for the waning moon, I need to make sure that I have my thievery stuff on. However, I'm going to... Am I... I'm trying to remember the severity of the checks. No, I think I'm going to leave it on. I think the sleight of hands are worse. So you need to have a... You're going to have two different types of checks here to try and talk your way out of this encounter. And the first is going to be sleight of hand. You're going to need to have sleight of hand checks to be able to pass. And you're also going to have to pass performance checks, which my bard is obviously good at. So I'm not too worried about the performance checks, even though it's charisma based. Remember, I'm getting a huge bonus to charisma because of the Dark Lady's Grace that we got from downstairs. So my performance checks are going to be quite a bit easier to do. So even though I'm willing to take the -1 to charisma here, which is going to lower my performance check, just to be able to get the +2 to sleight of hand, which I am much less proficient at. Okay. I'm also going to leave the gloves on, which are going to give me advantage for this. And I'm going to take everybody in here at the same time to be able to do this, so I can have Shadowheart near me
Or distillery.
I could use a drink after wandering these rooms.
to cast guidance. Actually, let's head around this side and come in this way. Okay, so I ran right through the dirt mound, but again, don't really care that much. Okay, and we're going up here to deal with Thisobald Thorm, and we're going to try and make him drink himself to death.
The curse has wrecked this man. This is no life. This is torture.
Leaning in, you can see how the creature's skin barely holds it together. The bulge of its belly is on the cusp of bursting wide open.
Bloated as a pufferfish. He takes a few drinks and I bet he'll pop.
Go on, free. Make it drink. Be free.
Okay, so you have two options here. You can either try and make Constitution saving throws to avoid the effects of this, or you can do Sleight of Hand. And we're going to go Sleight of Hand, even though they're harder to pass. These are 18 DCs. I have advantage on these.
Such a small sip you take. Fear not. You will soon quaff as I do.
And here's where the performance checks comes in. Now, as a bard, I'm going to have advantage on these by default. But you can see all of the bonuses that I'm getting from these performance checks. It's actually pretty impressive. I would be getting +7 from Charisma, but again, because of the ring, I'm willing to sacrifice +1 here because of all the other advantages I have as a bard. Without a bard, you're just going to have your regular bonuses to this. You will not get advantage. So these are all based upon things that we have encountered previously. So your warlock here, bard explored a lost fortress buried deep in the Underdark's bowels. So from the Underdark and the Grimforge. So from the Arcane Tower, from our encounter with Raphael, the Goblin Camp, the Emerald Grove, from the Nautiloid. So all of these are brought out of things that we've already done. These DCs are pretty high, but again, for me, I have a really good chance to pass them. I'm not going to jinx it, but I have a really good chance to pass them. That's a big number.
So have I. When my cup runs dry, let me pour you some sympathy. You ask, you drink, then you amaze, enthuse, astound me. Again.
So you can ask questions of him here, and he will start giving you can learn more about the Shadow Curse and the history here.
Father Ketherick created, Father Ketherick sustains. Bring it in, toss it down, lap it up. Father Ketherick's laughter, not joy, not ever, never, only laughter. Questions done, finished, over, only drink.
So now we're back to another sleight of hand. 18 DC.
More stories. Tell me of foes fell, villains vanquished, beasts bastards.
So again, here we talk about all of the various encounters that we've had with various monsters throughout the game. So the imps that we battled in the prologue on the Nautiloid, the owlbear mother, the beating of Dror Ragzlin, the hag, the phase spider, a bullet, the lava elemental, and the Inquisitor. They're all the same. It doesn't matter what you choose. That would be a bad roll for anybody other than a bard.
I'll drink to that. We drink to everything, but especially to that. Bravo! Ask, question, make your query, and drink once more. The spirit of the land. More drink. Father. Father is Father. Eternal. Invincible. Forever. Except not. No more questions. Drink. No. Must not. Cannot. Will not mention her. The customer is always right, but also wrong.
So you have one more sleight of hand check. And this is your, again, DC 21, so we're at less than a 50-50 chance to make this work. We do have inspirations, though.
Father's personal, mysterious, secret. No, not never. Father said, ordered, commanded. Don't say it. Don't say it. Her cage. Talk and perish, die, buried in Thorm tomb. Father told me. I can't perish. No, nay, neither. Too strong.
Okay then. So you can see what remains of Thisobald Thorm here. We still gain the experience as if we were killing him. We do have the blighted individuals who are around here, but now we can fight them at our leisure. here, and we can approach them in multiple different ways. What I'm going to do is utilize this corner here. And the blighted individuals, again, dark vision does not see in darkness. They have fortitude. In other words, if you didn't kill them with a crit or radiant damage, they're going to come back to life with 1 hit point. It's like the feat version of Death Ward, basically. And you can talk to them.
He served us, but will be forgotten soon.
Okay, you're not going to learn a whole lot from any of them.
Maybe we'll get some proper music now.
Okay, and this is going to trigger all of them into combat. But again, not that difficult of a combat to have, especially when you're not trying to run around and avoid Thisobald's attacks. These are just mere, more annoyances.
Heading there.
Okay, and again, doing thunder damage there stacked up enough reverberation that, one, it caused thunder damage, which knocked him backwards, but then again also knocked him prone and removed all of the stacks of reverberation. So the ability, the crowd control ability of Shadowheart's build here is not to be underestimated at all. It's actually really, really impressive.
Despite everything. One day I'll catch a break.
Okay, and there's the death word kicking in.
Talk to me.
Nothing important is ever easy.
This is my time. Fleet of foot.
So I'm looking at the others here real quick. I think they're all just melee based, yeah. Yep, so I'm not too worried about anything this turn. They're gonna all dash to try and get to me. It's probably gonna take them a couple of turns to get to me. And with these down here, I can probably continue just to knock them back.
Survival is all that matters.
Oh, come on. Oh, you're right there. There you go, headshot. Okay, so we'll just knock them back. That means they're going to have to dash to reach me on this next turn, so they're not going to be doing anything this turn.
Give up.
Inflict some radiating orbs, so they're going to be minuses to hit.
That who favors the fearless.
Where do I go from here?
Well, she's got 32 left.
No choice but to keep going.
Let's not do that yet. Let's get that last
Blood's easy these
attack
days.
Not too worried about the possibility of getting stunned here. It's got 12 left. I think this
Blood
should
comes easy these
be...
days. That's going to trigger his death ward as soon as I did that damage, but then the fall damage got rid of that additional 1 hit point. I can just end all my turns and wait for the other one to get here. Okay. And same thing again. We're going to hold off on Shadowheart.
On the victor's path.
Okay, and then his death word kicks in.
Time to deal some punishment.
Perfect. Okay, easy enough. Now we can walk around, do our looting in here.
Don't waste a step. Open up.
And in here, don't forget that you're going to find a lot of camp supplies. Jeez, there's that pathing again. A lot of alcohol-based camp supplies in here, so make sure you're holding left alt when you're walking around. And then also make sure that you are zooming in when you get into certain areas, because those are not going to show up on left alt. On PC, anyway.
Let's see what this
The ban
does.
list just lists all the patrons who have been banned out of here. Okay, as we're going to search all these wine racks again. We're just going to pick all these up for now. I'll send them all to camp later, all at once. Hey, Nicholas, welcome to the stream. We're just working our way through the town, Reithwin Town now.
I'll take that.
Okay, so here's some more camp supplies. There's more up here. Search some more wine racks. Some very useful potions here, especially the potion of invisibility. Okay, and then the big book of little drinking games. Again, not very nice toward halflings and gnomes. And some more alcohol-based camp supplies here. I think there's some more up here. Yes, there's one more up here. That's exactly what I'm going to do, Philip. I am going to illustrate that on my next long rest. Okay, so we'll make our way back around to this side.
Something good here, I hope.
Down here. And it's hard to overstate how useful all of these camp supplies are when you're doing an honor mode run. Because again, on honor mode, you need 80 camp supplies to rest, not 40. So having access to all of these around here, it, again, just like everything else about honor mode, it makes you plan a lot more in advance. And this is one of the things you have to plan for, is now your camp supplies and long resting. We're gonna split our camp. Or a group.
I'll never believe this.
And we did perceive the loose floorboards. And there's Madeline's Ledger, which is going to help us complete Punish the Wicked. No, Nicholas, it's not. I have an honor mode playthrough that I do personally on my own, which is not streamed. I just mention it so if people are anxious to go that route, they know some of the differences. Because, yeah, there are a lot of things that you really need to plan out and strategize, and action economy becomes a huge key to success. All of that sort of stuff. So, because I get a lot of questions, why do I search all of these things? You know, why do I search a lot of barrels and that sort of stuff? And the reason I do it is because it's habit. Because I'm forced to do it in other playthroughs. And here I might not be required to do it, but it's, like I say, it's something I'm almost forced to do in some of my other playthroughs. So, the Warren Key we're going to use here in a minute, a whole bunch of more camp supplies as well as crafting ingredients here.
Let's have a look.
Yeah, I choose not to do honor mode for my playthroughs and stuff simply because I'm not trying to... I want to have a stream that doesn't end because of something stupid. All of these misplays that I've had so far today are unforgivable things in honor mode. And I don't want to be mentally... It's hard for me to be mentally engaged in all of the things I need to be looking at and play while I'm doing a live stream and talking to everybody and having those interactions. So that's the main reason, or one of the reasons, but also I simply don't want my live stream run to end and have to start over while I'm in the middle of a live stream. I prefer to get to show progress and have you guys come along with that progress as we go. It's the same reason when Tactician mode was the only thing that was out, why I didn't do Tactician mode, is because I don't want to have to go through reloads and that sort of stuff in my playthroughs. I don't do that for my Baldur's Gate live streams. Whatever happens, happens. And I don't want to be... I want to illustrate a bunch of different possibilities through the playthroughs. And I don't want to have to worry about all of that with different difficulties. So there's the usage of the Warren Key. That takes you into this back area here. Okay, and we're going to find some things that are laying around on the ground here. The purple worm gullet. Before we do that, we're going to go to the research notes here. Oh, and I didn't want to do this here.
They describe a powerful venom extracted from a rare purple
Oh,
worm.
well.
Distiller Thisobald Thorm sought to create a fatal poison using the worm's gullet. He procured several parts of a worm gullet, but rinsed one in error. The poison he brewed was noxious, but not fatal. Thisobald devoted months to formulating a deadly poison with the remaining ingredients, without success. After exhaustive experimentation, he was able to make a near-deadly extract from the glands. But to complete his poison, Thisobald required one last ingredient, the petals of a corpse rose. The book's index reveals corpse roses may grow near tombs, mausoleums, and particularly redolent cadavers. Thisobald enlisted a courier from Baldur's Gate to obtain corpse rose petals and other ingredients and deliver them to a covert location. Unfortunately, a deep purple stain darkens the final page, obscuring the parcel's destination.
Okay, so it's an investigation check. So I'm going to leave. So I do have the best investigation possibilities here.
You set your eyes on the various formulas and copious notes.
Okay, hello, pop up the check, please.
The poison described within requires corpse rose petals. The distiller ordered a
is it
package
worth
of
getting the
them,
golden
but
dice? I mean,
dark purple
just
stain
like
makes
any
the delivery
other
destination hard to make
thing
out.
in video games that you have to earn, like skins for weapons and outfits for characters, it's whether you want to kind of show off a little bit that you've done an honor mode playthrough by having access to the golden dice. All it does is change that color right there to gold. That's the only difference. So, I mean, it's something for me I want to do anyway. These playthroughs here are probably not going to be my last Baldur's Gate 3 playthroughs. So, sorry if you heard any of that noise going on in the background. My cats are being cats. So, if you want to show off the golden die and show that you've done an honor mode playthrough, then that's what it's for. So, a 14 DC on this. We've got, again, around a 50-50 shot here. I think we still have 3 inspirations. We'll use 1 more, but won't use any more than this.
Your mind separates the black from the blue, revealing the stash's location. You mark your map as a reminder. With the corpse rose petals the package contains, you might create Thisobald's purple worm poison.
Okay, that's going to unlock the recipe here. It's also going to mark your map with the stash location. You don't need to have this marked. You can just go up there and search for it. However, having it's going to make it much easier to find. So now we want to go through here and pick up all of the various supplies that are in here. And don't forget the purple worm gullet. That was one of the ingredients that was being talked about in the book. And I still have guidance for 1 turn.
That's curious.
Okay, so here you get 1 purple worm toxin that he was looking to do. So for 10 turns, you coat your weapon that will do 1d10 additional poison damage. So if they make a Constitution saving throw, they're going to take half damage. But again, it lasts a long time. It's not just for the next turn when you coat your weapon with it. And that's what makes it different, more useful. so to speak, than a lot of other poisons. And I'm going to cast Guidance again.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
Okay, so I failed the perception check.
Can't afford to stay idle.
There it is. Do I still have my sleight of hand stuff on? I do.
With a flick of the wrist.
Okay, so inside here, various things to search. You're going to get the yellow musk creeper petals, which is giving you one of the ingredients for the potions of superior healing.
Is that a human arm? Do I even want to know?
No, you don't want to know. Rustic chest with, again, some more crafting supplies. And again, another one.
What path lies before me?
And in here's the punch-drunk bastard. This is an interesting item. It always has been pretty fun to watch it work. While you are drunk, and the drunk condition gives you disadvantage on dexterity and charisma checks. But in this case, that's just on the checks, not saving throws, not attacks that go along with charisma in the case of packed weapons and that sort of stuff. So there's not a huge downside to being drunk. You have advantage on attack rolls, so all attack rolls. You also create a blast with each attack, dealing 1d4 thunder damage for 3 meters around you. Now, this is very, very interesting with a reverberation build, where when you deal lightning, thunder, or radiant damage, you also stack reverberation. So here, you're going to gain advantage on all of your attack rolls with this, as long as you just carry along some camp supplies in your pouch and get drunk before you go into a fight. I've seen a great and funny build by a content creator online, the Punch Drunk Monk, where that is all they did is went around drunk all of the time, and until they got this, and this turned into their main weapon for dealing that stuff. And again, they had reverberation items. So it turned into a whole bunch of people lying prone on the ground all day long while they were just getting beat up, type of thing. So it was pretty funny to watch. It's not something I think I'm going to be interested in doing a whole lot, but I do want to test something with it. So here you have the serpent venom, some notes on it and that sort of stuff, and that unlocks the recipe for it. So what I'm going to try is, again, because Shadowheart has all of her reverberation gear on, and whenever she's doing thunder damage, she's going to be able to inflict that stuff. Right now, if she attacks with the blood of Lathander, she's... I think we have an item... Trying to look at where the blood of Lathander comes in. Okay, yeah. When the wearer inflicts a condition upon a hostile creature, they also inflict 2 turns of reverberation. So whenever I move within range of them with the blood of Lathander, and they become blinded, which is a condition, then I'm going to stack reverberation on them. But then once I've done that, I'm not getting any advantages to my to-hit rolls or anything like that with the blood of Lathander to do it. So this would let me attack and deal thunder damage in a radius all the way around me. And I'm anxious to see how this kind of works with my reverberation build. I'm also anxious to know if that thunder damage applies to my allies, or if it is just enemies. I'm going to experiment with it for a bit here and kind of see how this thing works, because honestly I haven't played with it because this is the only playthrough that I have a reverberation build on. So I am going to have to make sure that I'm drunk when I do this, so I am going to, and don't forget the 2 purple worm gullets here. So I am going to carry around some of this alcohol that I've picked up for Shadowheart. Our second 20 of the day. We haven't rolled a 1 yet, so I'm a little worried about that, chat. So the Icarus gloves, whenever the wearer deals acid damage, they also inflict nauseous fumes. Nauseous fumes is a radius-based cloud where you take acid damage while you're inside of it. Not something very useful to any of the builds that I'm going to have. So let me finish looting here real quick. So what is reverberation? I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time talking about it, but just to quickly go over it. Reverberation here is an effect just like heat and lightning charges and that sort of stuff that you can stack up, an illuminating orb that you can stack up either on yourself or on an enemy to gain advantages. And in this case, every stack of reverberation, the enemy has a -1 penalty to strength, dexterity, and constitution saving throws. So if I have 4 stacks of reverberation, they're taking a -4 penalty to all those saving throws. And then when the enemy has 5 or more stacks of reverberation, it's going to take 1d4 thunder damage and possibly fall prone, and that's going to remove the reverberation effect afterward. Now, I can stack reverberation very, very fast because of the Gloves of Belligerent Skies. Whenever I deal thunder damage, lightning, or radiant damage, I inflict 2 turns of reverberation. Whenever I inflict a condition of any type, I also inflict another 2 turns of reverberation. And then while I'm doing it, I'm also inflicting Radiating Orb through Radiant Shockwave, which is a condition which gets me more reverberation. And now I can attack and deal thunder damage with advantage while I'm drunk to stack more reverberation on a target. And that thunder damage is in an AoE radius around me, which means it's going to proc to multiple different people. So in that way, it's basically a way to debuff the enemy and possibly knock them prone so that their entire turn gets missed when that happens. And we get free attacks out of it, basically. But I don't know how useful it's going to be if I'm attacking an enemy standing in a cloud of darkness, and it hits my allies and causes damage to them as well. So that's what I'm interested in playing out. So what I am going to do is, because Shadowheart doesn't have any of these things, I'm just going to give her 12 mugs of beer here. And we're going to test it out. See how it works. Because if she drinks this, she's going to get the drunk condition for 2 turns. I can do it as a bonus action. So, like I say, I'm kind of interested to play with it a bit here and see how it works. So, we did pick up the ledger there. So, we're going to head back here and finish up the Punish the Wicked quest. That is true, Pete. I probably could change that out for some wine to be some, you know, some more art from an RP perspective. Okay, so we're going to go talk to He Who Was here.
Something's on my mind.
The air stirs in trepidation. You have the ledger. To punish a murderer. If that is not enough, leave. I have no time for those lacking commitment. We have it. Her lies, her guilt. Madeline reported her friends to a dark justiciar and fled when they were butchered. Well, she flees no more. I will be the conduit for Madeline's spirit. I will force her to face trial, and you will be the judge. Make her beg. Make her suffer. Careful, for a serpent in life is a serpent in death. Witness.
He said I was gonna be punished. That you'd be the judge. But I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I said it didn't mean nothing. That Ben and Mark were just drunk and whining. The Dark Justiciar promised she was gonna chat with him. She promised! She gave him a dagger each. And told him to press it against their stomachs on the count of 3. To start stabbing. And not stop till she said so. She never said stop. I'd do anything to take it back. Anything.
Okay, so you have the opportunity here to determine how her fate plays out. He Who Was is going to want you to see justice done. Doesn't matter if it was an unintended consequence or not. She reported them, and they died because of it. She was lied to, and that's all well and good, but she's the one that started it off in the first place.
You're right. I'm a killer. A monster. I should have died instead.
Glorious. Look, my hand still shakes. You broke her most thoroughly. Well done. If you are satisfied, then so am I. You have done well. Her pain and anguish were sublime. I will treasure it. Here, for your services. Should I find another murderer in need of torment, I shall call upon you. Farewell.
Okay, so as a reward for playing it out this way, you get the Raven gloves. And you can summon Quoth the Raven. Quoth is something else. Okay, so Quoth acts just like a follower Raven, has the same abilities that Ravens do, in that they can rend vision. So as a follower, they're fun to have, and yes, this is the Raven that hated you. As you go through some of the combats and that sort of stuff, Quoth will speak. And some of those speech lines are just fun to have, I guess. But yeah, she is still Quoth the Raven, so she is still, you know, not too happy to be around all of the time, so to speak. So yeah, fairly annoying. And I'm looking for what I used to have on here. But yeah, like I say, a fun ring or a fun companion to have. But just like a normal Raven companion that you would be able to summon. What ring was I wearing here previously? I know I had the Ring of Geniality on just for that previous one. I guess I'll probably put that on for now again, because I am going to have another persuasion opportunity I'm going to have to do. So we're going to head back to Moonrise. We're going to head north.
Should mind my step.
Gonna kind of head a little bit west over here. And head to the House of Healing.
Looks like a...
So let me make sure I have what I'm still looking for. I do. Okay. Okay, so in the House of Healing, first thing that we're going to do is talk to Sister Cinda over here.
Here to see the doctor? Are we poorly? Are we desperately poorly? Oh, not so well. But well enough to wait. Join the line, and you will be seen. Yes, yes, but all must wait. The doctor's hands are full. Join the line. You will be seen.
Okay, so here I have a performance check. I can also make a deception check with my warlock, which is going to have, or with my warlock abilities, which is going to again have a huge set of bonuses that go along with it, or I can make a bard performance check with advantage. It's a 16 DC, I've got a 14 bonus, so I'm going to jinx it intentionally. I can only fail it with a nat 1. Rolled 2 3s, close to rolling 2 1s. I've never done that on stream. I've rolled 2 1s in one of my personal playthroughs, but never on stream.
Poor creature. Oh, so sad, so sick. The doctor will see you. The doctor will soothe. Down to the theater. Be swift. Be saved.
Okay, so that gets us to the front of the line, so to speak, and I'm just going to skip my way all the way in here and head down.
My hands on everything.
The objective of the Scalpel Sisters is to soothe. For the scalpel indeed is an extension of Shah. See how the patient reacts when I but stroke the right nerve. Hear its comfort, hear the very melody of mercy. Pray, sister, show us the extent of your beneficence. Stop. Stay your hand, for it slaps where it should stroke. We can hardly hear the patient's sighs of solace. Perhaps it is our unexpected audience that makes you quiver. Come, step forward. You are no sister, but that matters none. Every student is welcome.
Absence.
Absence. No other word captures the heart of Shah so very perfectly. It is the scalpel-led journey that leads from pain to peace.
A stinging truth, but a truth nonetheless.
See? What is the light of eyes but the cancer that causes one to witness the laceration of being? If light is the symptom, then darkness is the cure. For in light there is presence, but in darkness there is absence.
In light is presence, in darkness, absence.
You are well on your way, but one white orb disfigures you still. Let us finish the cure.
Okay, so we do have a persuasion check here. You can make some religion or investigation checks to open up other options to play this out. We're going to start with the persuasion check here, and again, if you're going to choose the persuasion options to get through these quote-unquote boss encounters without fighting, it's always best to go in and get the Sharran blessings beforehand so that you can get that huge +5 boost to your charisma skill, because that +7 I'm getting from charisma is huge. It would normally be +4, but I'm getting +7 from it, and that's a huge bonus for me. because these DCs are not small. Ooh, tried to fail it, chat.
Their incisions are, as yet, still streaked with imprecision. That much I must concede. How to steady their hands, I wonder.
Okay, so this is an interesting choice. I'm trying to think of what this would do. Oh, this might have the sisters kill him. I've always chosen this one to have the sisters kill each other, and then you're going to be presented with another choice to have him kill himself. But I think I'm actually going to take this and see if the sisters end up killing him this way, because that would give me an opportunity to have another combat with the sisters, and I could test out some of the drunk reverberation stuff. So I think I'm going to choose it, just at the very least, just to see what it does. I'm going to have advantage on this check situationally. It's a high DC. 21 here.
I see now. By example, I must edify and quell the light that blinds us. Come, sisters, soothe me.
Wow. Just wow. Okay. So it does kill him. And it leaves the sisters where I can have a combat with them. It doesn't allow us to free the patient. If you have the sisters operate on themselves and then you have him kill himself, then you can heal the patient. The patient will get up and he will run out the back door. I don't think you encounter him anywhere later on. I could be wrong. But yeah, playing it out this way does not allow you to save him. But wow, what a cutscene.
Anything of use?
what a cutscene. So on Malus's body, you're going to get the Surgeon's Subjugation Amulet. This is one of the most powerful amulets in the game for a critical hit build. Once per long rest, whenever you score a crit, you can paralyze the target for 2 turns. That paralysis literally lasts 2 turns. There's no saving throw to avoid it. There's no nothing. Now, because we have Luck of the Far Realms, once per long rest, we can walk up to anything that we want, hit it, trigger a crit, and trigger a paralyze. You can do this to anything that is not immune to being paralyzed. And it is a game changer for how you play some of the boss fights in this game, especially on honor mode. This, when I talked earlier about the Tollhouse and Gerringothe Thorm needing to find a way to immobilize her for at least a turn while you finish taking out the visages, this is a perfect way to do it. Have somebody put on the Surgeon Subjugation Amulet, have them go up and score a hit, and trigger Luck of the Far Realms to make it a crit, and as soon as that crit lands, you're going to get another pop-up that's going to ask you if you want to paralyze the target. You say yes, and there's nothing they can do. They're paralyzed for 2 turns. So this amulet is extraordinarily useful, and yes, I'm going to stack it here. Actually, I'll just send it to Kurz. We also picked up the battered loot. The battered loot is what we need to bring Art Kulla out of his coma. So we're going to pick that up. The key, and that's going to advance that quest. The key, we're going to see it's going to be used for a back room. We're going to get a supply pack. We're going to send off some crafting materials here, including a Goth eye stalk and some gold. So I'm going to immediately change this out to Kurz. So now whenever he gets a crit, again, he's rolling multiple crit dice because he's a half-orc, but he's also going to be able to paralyze a target whenever he does it. Now, Kurz doesn't have Luck of the Far Realms. He's a hireling, and I don't know as if I can give Kurz.
So that's progress.
Okay, so he does not want to use the parasites. It says he's hesitating. I don't know if I can talk to him and make him
I've got a long road ahead.
want to use them. That's an interesting question.
This vessel is at thy disposal. Do what thou wilt.
I don't think your hirelings... Yeah, your hirelings can't use the tadpoles. So he's not going to get an immediate always on cue bonus from doing this, but I don't need that right now from him. If I get to a boss fight, I can change that amulet out to my bard. I guess I could swap these two and give him shield instead. I mean, that's probably not a bad choice to make. I'd be able to illustrate it more with her anyway. So give him the opportunity to cast shield as a reaction. So yeah, I think that'll work. So now in here, we're going to go again, pick another fight. And we're going to kind of wait until they separate a second. Okay.
Your violence hasn't gone unnoticed. It's about to be returned in kind.
Okay, I rolled horribly on initiative. But that's... because they're going to have blind sight, I think. They do not. Well, whether they do or don't, it might not show up in here. We've already encountered the fact that blind sight might not show up in this list. If you look at them, they're obviously not seeing you with their eyes, so they might have blind sight, which would make darkness less useful, but we're going to cast it anyway. Okay, so they are blinded. So we are golden as far as this goes. So I'm just going to kind of move back to the back of darkness over here and just wait. They'll have disadvantage on that attack, and of course you hit. Okay, so I'm going to take my opportunity... Oh, I must not have been close enough within range for Sentinel to proc, so I'm going to use my opportunity attack here. I'm not going to smite. Okay, dashing is good. Okay, you're going to go upstairs. You're going to go upstairs again. Okay. Interesting. I want to see what they rolled to hit Shadowheart. Oh, right. I was like, why is it so easy to hit her? I forgot. She's not wearing a shield anymore. So her armor class is quite a bit lower because she's now... the Great Club is two hands to wield it. So I don't actually want to make this attack. Like I say, I'm only doing this to experiment a little bit. So I'm just going to end my turn here. I want them to all dash up around me is what I'm looking to have them do. Okay, so it didn't work. So here I'm going to have advantage on this. Oh, I need to drink. Okay, so now I've got advantage because of Tippler's Rage here as well. So let's go ahead and take this attack and see what happens with the reverberation effects. Okay, so reverberation does hit my own characters. Okay. So it's not ideal for using when you have other characters around. You might be able to, again, stand up near the front of the darkness and deal out the damage that way while everyone else stands in the back and does ranged attacks, but that's not kind of how I operate here. Normally I have Kurz and my bard dealing out the damage. But yeah, you can see the reverberation. That thunder effect from it does affect my allies. So I'm going to be inflicting reverberation on everybody.
No choice but to keep going.
Okay, and I'm just going to move back to the back here. I'm just going to play this one out. See if they come into the darkness or not. I have no idea what she's doing on the roof. Welcome to the stream, El Scorcho. Yeah, that I could certainly put that build up. So, even if I move out here and make this, I guess I can just move out here and make the attack. Okay. So I missed with advantage. Okay. But the tenacity perk on that, which means when you miss an attack, you deal 3 bludgeoning damage anyway. That bludgeoning damage triggers the thunder damage from Tippler's Rage, which again should have triggered all of the stacks of reverberation. Yes, it did. So it's interesting in how it works. It can certainly stack up a lot of stacks of reverberation really quickly. But yeah, I guess it is just interesting at this point. It's not really something I think is very viable for the setup that I have going. That should end her. Are you going to come back? Thank you. Come down 2 flights, please. There's 1. There's 2. Now make your way over here. Thank you. Can I see through here? No, I can't. Okay, so the alcohol wore off, so now her attack does not have advantage. Again, with a bonus action, consume it. Now I've got advantage on that attack. She's got 3 turns of reverberation. So what should happen here is I should deal 1d4 thunder damage on top of the base damage of it. I should get an additional 1d4 thunder damage from the reverberation. And then I should also get them possibly knocked prone.
Let me strike true.
Okay, so yeah, there's the additional 2d4 thunder damage. I can also add an additional 1d8 thunder damage now, which right now Sister Hannah does not have any reverberation. Divine Strike, Thunder. Well, just flat out killed her. So maybe this thing on a one-on-one basis is not so bad. Yeah, and I'm gonna blast the cabinets and everything else with thunder damage. But yeah, there's the initial 8. So I rolled an 8 from the thunder damage divine strike, and then there's the 1d4 from the reverberation that built up. It also knocked her prone, but I did enough damage on that for it not to matter in the slightest. She was just dead.
Can't even catch my breath.
So I'm gonna move back here into the thunder a little bit. Hopefully she'll dash to get to me. Oh, she's frightened. Okay. That's fine.
Let's finish this.
So I'm going to move Shadowheart back into the darkness up here at the front.
On I go.
Well, so much for peace.
And again, at this point, I'm just experimenting a little bit. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to go get her with Shadowheart.
Got to focus.
So I am not drunk anymore. I can't reach her to do the attack, so I'm gonna cancel or end these turns. See what she does. Okay, so she's not gonna move. So if I move out slightly this way. We'll see what she does. Yeah, she's going to come at me. Okay, so now I can do a reaction back. So I need thunder damage. So I'm going to do Wrath of the Storm Thunder as a reaction. That's 2d8 thunder damage. So this might just flat out kill her with all these stacking thunder damage here. Okay, I can add Destructive Wrath so I can deal max damage with it by using one of my divinity charges. Okay, so now she's got 4 stacks of reverberation on her.
Got to concentrate.
So we still have advantage because we're drunk. Oh, jeez. Okay. So maybe one-on-one, it's a way to go. The big disadvantage here to it is you are dealing out more damage. But the big disadvantage here, I think, is that my armor class is so low that I'm getting hit a lot. Now, if I stand inside the darkness, that's mitigated some because of the disadvantage on attacks. But I also want them to miss.
Let's get on with it.
Because anytime that they miss, it's going to proc the Holy Lance Helm, which is going to do radiant damage unless they pass a dexterity saving throw. And then that radiant damage, because of the luminous armor, is going to cause radiant shockwave, which is going to cause illuminating orbs on everybody around me. And that radiant damage is also going to proc belligerent skies, which is going to inflict reverberation. So I'm counting on the fact that they're missing me, but also that I'm able to deal out damage. And with my armor class being 15, I'm going to have to kind of play with this some more, I think. And kind of see how well this is going to work out. I don't think we're done experimenting with it, Chad. I think we're going to keep trying it and seeing how it goes.
What now?
It's an interesting combination to work with, and I've been kind of waiting to see how this was going to play out on this playthrough. So I guess I'll give it more of a chance here. Now we're going to do our looting around here. And you're right, Peter, I could have jumped to make up that extra distance.
What's in here?
Just didn't think about it at the time.
These boots have seen everything.
Okay, and we're just going to go loot all these things. We're going to end up selling all of this stuff.
No traps, please.
Everard's Black Tentacles is good. That's a good spell to have. Very popular spell on tabletop. I will say that. Fire Shield, also very good for a cold-based wizard build, which we have in the Paladin playthrough. Okay, so we will go back down here to the bottom. Do some searching around down here real quick. Then we'll head to the back room. Okay. So we'll head back here. And here you're going to find a key.
More for me.
Okay, the last of these special surgeon's implements. Here we've got some camp supply, or some crafting supplies. The wardrobe has some nice clothing in it. Don't forget the crafting supplies that are just laying around. None of the bottle racks ever have anything, I don't think. And the book is unlocked by using that key that we picked up. And then we have a painted chest back here in the corner, which has the poisoner's gloves. There are builds with Shadowheart where you get an option to apply poison damage to your attacks. And this would allow you then to turn that into a damage over time, or a disadvantage on attack rolls thing. So we've seen how good disadvantage is when applying it to enemies through the blinded effect. So this would allow you to do that basic same thing on one person at a time, just by using the regular melee attacks that come with poison damage. However, you just need to be able to deal poison damage, and I don't have a build right now that is set up to maximize that. My personal playthrough, Shadowheart does, however. Okay, so we're going to make our way back out here and do some other searching while we're here. More crafting supplies. And the skeleton here is going to have the True Love's Embrace. This is one of a pair of rings that are going to allow you to cast Warding Bond on the person who has the other ring. You do once per long rest, and this is another one of those kind of cheesy things you can do with like your honor mode playthrough. A lot of people on honor mode tend to leave one of their players or one of their party members in camp, because if they wipe during an encounter, the party member that's in camp can talk to Withers and resurrect them, and your game doesn't end. This allows you also to, an easy way without having to have the Warding Bond spell, to cast that spell on somebody who is not in camp. So you can have the person in camp cast it on the person wearing the ring. The other ring, they get the benefits of Warding Bond, and then whoever's in camp is going to be taking that additional damage that's all split between the two of you. So it can be very, very useful to have. And in reading the book here, you can see that this is Miranda during the fight with the Harpers and the Druids. She was struck down, and the nurse kept asking me about my ring. When I told her myself and Miranda just got married, she looked at me strangely. So you need to go looking for her husband to get the other ring that goes with this. And we can certainly go do that.
Here we go.
Okay, we've already learned out of this book before, or we know what this book is. That was interesting. I wonder why that happened. Okay, some more. So now we can deal with Sister Cinda here. You don't have to, but you certainly can.
Your violence hasn't gone unnoticed. It's about to be returned in kind.
Okay, and again, horrible initiative roll. Or else she's just rolling. Do they have something that lets them roll better? No. Yeah, they're just rolling really, really well on initiative. I want her to go after my bard. Thank you. With that 23 armor class. I'm going to move my bard actually back out of the way and take the attack of opportunity.
Need to act fast.
Okay, so she missed a 94%er. Rolled a 4. So we are going to trigger Tenacity, which is going to trigger the thunder damage and the reverberation effect. Okay, so yeah, she's got 4 stacks of reverberation on her now.
Where do I go from here?
Okay. So it is somewhat interesting to deal with. Probably more situational, though, if I had to guess, with Shadowheart. But we'll try and play it out during one of the bigger encounters and see how it works. So she has a key on her. Karabasan's gift. After 1 turn, the affected entity will become paralyzed. And that key unlocks the desk here to take the crafting supplies. And the heavy chest has the hospital library key. So if that door was not opened at the back here, it would unlock it for you. Also, or I'm sorry, it's this door right here. So if you have not talked to her and convinced her to let you go see the doctor, you can pickpocket the key to open up these doors to get in to where the doctor's at.
Moving ahead. Don't mind if I do.
Okay, we do have a surgeon's memorandum here, which you can read, which is just basically saying that Malus is saying don't use anesthetic on anybody who might die. Okay, and now you can see inside here we have Sister Lidwin.
I need a quick word.
The doctor's found Oblivion. Well, no time to mourn. I'll fix this without him.
That's Arabella's father. Or was Arabella's father.
Not dead. Merely medicated. To ease the pain.
Never chosen this option before.
The patient is asleep. The sedative is quite strong, you see.
It's another big number.
Yes. Yes. I knew these hands would not fail me. The patient is sure to recover.
Okay, and now we can purchase some
Not
supplies
much
from her.
left now, but you're welcome to look.
Okay, and here, this is one of the best sources of some of the best poisons in the game that you can get. So you have regular basic poison, you have drow poison, which if they don't succeed a constitution saving throw, they're going to become poisoned and they'll fall asleep for 10 turns. However, she has Karabasan's poison. And this is another one of those things that you can utilize to really turn the tide of some major battles. And this is why coming here and talking to her and getting this is one of the most important things for your honor mode playthrough. So having this, you coat your weapon with it. If they don't succeed the Constitution saving throw, then they become paralyzed and poisoned, and you can see that's for 10 turns. Now, they're going to get a saving throw to come out of it, but it can become a serious handicap to them, especially when we have things like reverberation, which are giving them a -1 penalty to Constitution saving throws. So what you do is you walk in with your Reverberation Cleric and you stack up some Reverberation, however you want to do that. You can even do this ranged by using Guiding Bolt or the Sacred Flame cantrip to inflict radiant damage. That will give them a minus on their Constitution saving throw. Then you can coat a ranged weapon with Carabasands and paralyze that target a lot easier. So you can really stack this together to help make some of your bigger fights a lot easier, especially on honor mode, where the legendary actions can seriously mess up your game plan. When they're paralyzed, they can't take legendary actions. They can't do anything. So this is a way to basically knock them out of the fight so that you can deal with all of their minions around them and then come back later and deal with them once that's worn off. So Carabasan's poison is incredible. Pick it up. Can be very, very useful for some of the bigger fights that you're going to run into. So they also have Serpent Fang Toxin, which we learned a little bit out previously before. It's just basically 1d6 additional damage. The Wyvern Toxin is 1d8 additional damage. And she's also going to have some various other potions. She's got potions of superior healing, which I'm going to pick up, and greater healing, which I'm going to pick up as well. I don't need the other poisons so much, so I'm going to let them stay. But now you also see the difference in the trade interface here, the trade barter interface. Doesn't matter who you're selecting over here.
Let's get going.
The inventory for all of your characters is all together in one place. It's just separated by character, which is incredibly nice. Not having to finish a barter selection with one of your characters and then go to another one is so much better than it used to be. So that's something good to keep in mind, or another quality of life improvement that they gave us. I'm very, very happy to see it was implemented in here. It's also going to tell you who is who is trading. So again, it doesn't matter who you're selecting here. The person who initiated the conversation is the one that is trading. So I've got a persuasion plus 11, and that's going to give me a minus 79% discount right now. So if her attitude was up to 100 and I got another 50% bonus, I'd be getting 129%. You know, I'd be getting more than double what I was selling it or buying it for. So, but good
Now,
quality of life change there.
Excuse me. I've got to tend to my patient.
And now you can look at them both. I don't think they have anything to loot. They don't. So here in the room, we have some more things that we can loot. Oil of Combustion, that's 3d6 fire damage.
Are you out there? Please, please, please.
Okay, basically an old map that led the Tieflings from the Emerald Enclave through the mountain pass to try and get to Baldur's Gate. They ended up here. Obviously, things didn't go well once they got here.
Better not be cursed.
Nothing here, just a regular book. More healing potions. And we'll search and see if we have any scrolls or any books or anything up in here. Okay. Now, the thing about the House of Healing is that there are multiple levels here. We're going to take this ladder here. to get up to this lower roof area. This lower roof area leads you into a couple of different locations. You can come down here. There's a potion of invisibility. And, of course, a stuffed bear that you can pick up. Outside here, you have a skeleton that you can search. And there are 2, I believe. Yes, there are. More wine. Book of poetry. Okay, and then I think that's it for here on this side. I don't know if there's anything on this side. I don't think there is. There's not. We're going to use this way to get into the second floor at this end. And here we have the library door, which we have the key for. Okay, and we have some portraits we can pick up. More bookshelves. Another hospital library key we don't need. We've already got it. Protection from energy is another great spell to have as a backup shield for an individual. Hidden here in the corner is a gilded chest.
Come on,
I may want to back out of this. I don't think I have any of my stuff on. Well, it's only a 10. Add in guidance and see. Okay, so fine. Go around the outside. Scroll of Fear, always good. Avard's Black Tentacles again. And another one. Nice. I do like that spell. Stone skin. And I think we do have... Is that it? Yes, that is it. Now out here on the roof we have a nest here. That we can search. Okay, and that finishes up the House of Healing, I do believe. Whoops. I'm gonna go here, and I think this... Yeah. Is gonna take me down to the bottom. Little elevator. Now I can leave the House of Healing. Now, from here, we're gonna go over this way and grab this stash, and that is going to get us ready for next week. Okay, so we're going to walk out here. And once we get out here, we're going to get alerted.
Listen, the psionic detector. Githyanki are lurking nearby.
Okay, so we get alerted to the fact that there are some Githyanki nearby. And there most certainly are.
Just out of view. What do we have here?
Oh yeah, forgot about that too.
Best be on my way.
Okay, we can see the marker here for the Alchemical Stash. And if you've deciphered the book, then this is just going to show up as a dirt mound. Otherwise, you have to perceive this dirt mound, or you can dig to find it. But that, it's hard to perceive it. Okay, and here you have the corpse roses, and this is what's used, the last ingredient that you need to be able to brew up Thisobald's belly glummer. And you won't learn anything about it until you brew it. So, sending, this is the stash from the courier that he was trying to get. And you see there's some other valuable stuff in here. The frost salamander tongue and the cloud giant finger are very, very useful as well.
Softer than a whisper.
Okay, so I think
The easy part.
what we're going to do, actually, is group everybody back up, and instead of starting out next week with that, we're going to start out next week with this. And I normally like to approach this from here, so I have the high ground. I can't remember if I'm able to get up here. I'm not. I think I have to exit. Okay, yeah, I can get up there. Good. Couldn't remember if I could or not. So here you're going to have a perception check to, or a nature check to make as well, I believe. It might be survival. Okay, but here you have the Watcher Shield. This gives you advantage on perception checks, which again, just having it equipped while you're wandering around can be very useful. It also has the Assassin's Short Sword, which gives you advantage on stealth checks, which again, useful to some point. The stealth in this game isn't really all that, mechanic isn't utilized all that much as it is in tabletop. Okay, and here, going to toggle my, nope, I'm going to hide and toggle my group. I'm going to go out here, there's the survival check.
What's next, I wonder?
This should be okay.
Have to keep low. What's there?
Oops, I don't want to pickpocket. Okay, so there it is.
Something over there.
Okay, so what we're going to do is, starting off next week, we're going to have 2 combat encounters. We're going to have an encounter against a bunch of shadows here, and then like we were alerted, we're going to have another combat encounter with a group of Githyanki over here. So we're going to jump right into the fight next week when we start out. And that gets us a really good spot to bring today's live stream to a close. So just as a reminder, we are back to our regular streaming schedule, which means the Paladin live stream is tomorrow from 2 to 5 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is GMT -6 for those of you who are not in the United States. So we'll pick up with the Paladin live stream there, and that's going to start getting really interesting as we start progressing into the Mausoleum and the Gauntlet of Shar with the Paladin live stream. So I hope to see you then. As always, thank you all for being here. I love the interactions with you guys in chat. It's always great, and as always, thank you all for being here. Without your support, none of this would be possible. This is Commander Jorval saying, until tomorrow, fare thee well.